but sentiment, I don't think we are fully bullish just yet. We could see Rocket Lab is up here having an amazing morning. It is Thursday, and we're jumping into the markets this morning. First things first, we got big sell-off continuations in the semiconductor market after we had a record quarter, the best quarter since 2020 in semiconductors, and then we saw a big sell-off, and then into this morning we start to see a little bit of a recovery. Now, SOXL, which is the 3x there, or the 2x of the semiconductor market, we've seen it really sell off from like $300 down to 147. And we ended up selling that one just about a week and a half ago, getting out. We did see some rallies though as semiconductors start to recover a little bit into today. SOXL is now up 14% today. We're also seeing that the space tech market is still in that downtrend a little bit here. We got some green into today, into the market open session here, but sentiment, I don't think we are fully bullish just yet. We could see Rocket Lab is up 2% today, but still kind of consolidating here from left to right. Kind of same thing over there with Planet Labs. See that left to right, maybe a little bit of a recovery this morning, but not fully recovering, not fully looking bullish just yet. And so you can look at Redwire as well. Redwire this morning, we got some sideways movement, but still sold down to that $10 price point, and now consolidating still from left to right. You do have that potential from this left to right where we get that reversal and more consolidation with their current levels, but still seeing some sell-offs. Okay. So why is that? Well, we've had a lot of record growth over the last few quarters. The start to the week, we got semiconductors getting hit really hard, and then we got a sell-off tied to worries on whether you could say, massive AI infrastructure is going to justify a lot of the current valuations. So you had Micron selling off pretty big, you had Intel selling off pretty big, and into yesterday, SOXL was down big. You had geopolitics as well in conversation. At least it seems like Trump was saying that there's definitely a lot of tension still there in Iran, and then that basically did not look good for the market. That was big sell-off time after that. We do have some stabilization though. Once again, this is good. You got a little bit of consolidation and sell-offs, but you do have this recovery and possibly getting through that rough patch that we saw over the last 2 weeks here, starting to look more like there's some sort of kind of bottom. But once again, if you were to look at Redwire, they're at this support level and they're kind of potentially selling off further. If they recover, there's that 20% gain, and it's kind of across the board how it looks. AMD, they're still holding up here at these levels, doing quite fine, near all-time highs, but starting to feel the resistance. Feel the resistance right here around this 555, where they're getting kind of rejected. And so they look green so far this morning, but things are definitely not, seeing that the bullish market environment that we were seeing as much. Now, things are good. Things are all-time highs. Things are looking fine. But as far as trading environment, a lot of times what we look for is we're looking for consistent uptrends where we get big pullbacks at market open, in order to sell or potentially enter. So not really seeing that. Then again, maybe not quite as sharp as I've been. I was feeling pretty sick yesterday. Got some sort of cold while traveling. But other than that, feeling semi-sharp here. Curious what you guys are watching this morning and what are the top plays that you guys are looking at and how is everyone doing this morning? Let's see what we got going on. So let's see, we got Dean is here. Good morning, Dean. Idris, good morning. Zach is here. Good morning. Marcin, good morning. We got Elizabeth is here. Sid is here. Good morning. Nudrat, Sono, good morning. Any specific companies? Not too many. Xrod, good morning. Helma Win, good morning. We got John here. Lynn is here. Good morning, everyone. So, what will help you if you're looking at opportunities right now in this market? Some of the trending markets right now, you got memory and you got photonics that are definitely looking still bullish. You got strong recovery on Keel today, which we do have a little position over there on Keel. But we did exit many of our short-term positions. So we only got Taiwan Semi, we got some Rigetti, we got SPCX, Nvidia, Google, and LUNR. So what we're looking for, you got this green here. AAOI is up big time this morning. GLW seeing somewhat of a recovery today. Coherent is up 7% as well. Things are starting the day in the green. So when it comes to Keel, or it comes to some of these data center plays, volatility is high. APLD is holding about $32 a share, back down to this support. Now in their trend has been so consistent. So with this recent sell down here, they're actually potentially looking, there could be a really sharp sell down where they kind of continue down further today. That is quite possible. But there is that moment on APLD where we could see a potential recovery that's getting out of this little downtrend they've been in since June. So since June, they've been selling off. You can see that this lowering resistance here. You can see those levels, the lowering support here, and that's where they're starting to really sell off consistently. See that trend there? It's like the opposite of our bull trend. Little recovery into today, but now looking for a breakout here above this $32 range on APLD, because that would put them into the continuation of this trend, the larger trend that is bullish, for them to bounce the 200-day moving average, potentially continue in this range, and maybe up into those targets back into that $50 range. So APLD looks like it's positioning. My analysis, I've been replacing a lot of my analysis with prophecy. Okay. Been doing that quite often. But what I've found as well is the APLD and data center markets and these companies, the way that they move is so volatile in the short term that while it's right at that 200-day moving average, you could see potential sell-offs very, very quickly, right? That's what happened last time. We were at the 200-day moving average, but then they sold off very quickly, about 18%, before recovering and then making that trend upwards. So I would look at prophecy real quick here. APLD, some of the projections, let's get an idea. how things are looking from a projection standpoint. Got some bearish projections here next week, mostly bullish. I remember when I was traveling recently. I just went for 4th of July to a lake area to watch the fireworks and stuff and do Airbnb type stuff. And when we were traveling, the big conversation was, and this is just people I was talking to at the lake and just general people, was that, hey, the data center market is so big, but what if there's no need for these massive data centers, and things like photonics, memory markets, or things like this improve so drastically that it's not even a conversation that we need to do, space data centers up in space or things like that, because we have the technology to essentially make them even smaller, kind of like every technology, they get smaller and smaller. So yeah, I would agree. I think that we're probably in that scenario where we could see a lot of the data center markets do very, very, very well. Yes, the financials look good. But just watch out some of the big valuations in data centers. Not necessarily APLD. APLD is actually pretty well positioned. But for example, like Keel looks really good, but they haven't seen big contracts come in. So while they're looking good and they have some growth potential, just be careful too about not seeing the revenue just yet. Some of these ones have revenue, like APLD, pretty solid. They're holding around that $32 range. Some of those larger contracts are making their ways into these smaller data center companies that are going to be really, really, really good for their financials, and they're most likely going to do really well. But just something to consider for the photonics market or for the optimization of the data centers that might end up meaning that we don't need the massive supply of data center infrastructure. Okay. SMR, someone says SMR. All right. Amari, when it comes to SMR, you could trade them, and maybe they're seeing more attention. I know they've got some eyeballs. I think nuclear is too early, so I wouldn't really touch SMR. I think while it's interesting, the nuclear market's really interesting. I think we're still extremely early for a lot of these companies before we start to see really notable trends. So I'm not going to personally be investing in the nuclear markets right now for that reason. You're watching a company called OBAI. Okay, got it. Yep. Not sure about that one, but we can take a look. Our Bond Inc. This is a company that I also wouldn't really touch, Amari. You do have negative net income, or income is fine. It's kind of holding around $2 million a quarter, but they have more liabilities than they do have assets. So it's 16 million in liabilities, 5 million in assets. They're also a penny stock. They might be projected to do well. Vanguard buying a little bit. Maybe they can do well. Targets are good, but I don't buy companies that have more liabilities than assets. So I wouldn't touch that company. Tanner, good morning. Rich, crank up the mic. I'm maxing out the volume almost every day. Okay. Maybe we can get the mic up slightly here. Thanks for the tip there. Should be working better now. Should be a little bit better. Okay. Okay, so moving away from data center market a little bit. We can buy in this morning. We could do some trades. I like the green. The green is good, but where are the opportunities here? I think maybe if you're looking at APLD, I think maybe we got some opportunities there for them to kind of continue that trend. This trend here, I'm going to give it a little more time. We're waiting for confirmation. As far as day trades today, nothing major. I would like to say I'm bullish on most semiconductor and AI companies. While we sold out of our semiconductors about 2 weeks ago, for the shorter term, medium term positions, we do still hold long term in the type of companies that are like AMD and NVIDIA and what's another one? Supermicro Computer, Taiwan Semiconductor. Many of these companies, we're not really touching anything on the long term. We just hold them. We don't really sell them out or anything like that. We're just holding those long-term companies. Okay. User says, what time frames do you use for prophecy? I like to use our most accurate time frames are normally going to be in the 1 hour. So you can click to the next 4 hours, or you can do the next day. I usually sit around the next day or next 4 hours, or I just use general. So I use the projections here, but I also like to when I'm using the models, I also like to just search the companies so I can see the full picture. But yeah, future chart, you can actually see here. If I need to get more analysis, sometimes I add more widgets for more pictures into what's going on. But for the most part, I just go through future chart and I go through next day or next 4 hours or next week. And then I like to lean towards Claude model, and we just added the newest Grok model yesterday. So we do have Grok that was recently added, the newest model. So we're going to be focused there. It's kind of how we use it. And currently, when we're looking at APLD, it's a little mixed. You got some negative, you got some positive. Still kind of bullish a little bit here into today on APLD, anticipating that they do well with that potential swing and kind of break out of this downtrend, right? So they have been kind of downtrending, and now they're finally potentially breaking out of that downtrend. When they make their rallies, they can move very quickly. They can move 20% in a day, 30% in a day. So there's big potential there. But when it comes to the shorter term trades, the choppiness we got earlier today, earlier this week, while it's you see the downtrend or the sell-offs earlier this week, it doesn't instill a lot of I could buy and just do risk management. So I could do that, but ultimately I think I would rather, I can kind of show you guys and just do law of numbers. Essentially, we're looking for that buy on the breakout and just have very clear risk management. But is the entry the best right now? It's okay. It's down, which is great. We could look for a bigger trend on APLD, for example. But the trend is okay. Okay, it's not. It's selling off as of recently. So what we could do, we could buy in, and then we could do a little, a clear position here, and then just have clear risk management. I'm cool with that. Do a little APLD swing. Do think they're finally starting to recover at that $30 range. But once again, the opportunity is still developing because they've had consecutive red days. So we're seeing a little green here at market open. there is that potential swing of about 15% on APLD back up into that range. But is it the perfect entry? No, I would wait for a little more consolidation. Okay. And maybe it starts to recover big and we end up not making the move. But that's okay. I already hold the company long term, so I'm good there. We could enter and just show, the short-term risk management as well. Let's see how we have it. Yeah, the entry, it's honestly not ideal. So what I look for is a lot of different factors. A lot of the things work for APLD. You've got the financials look good. The market that they're in for the AI markets is a great market. The real world usage is there, sure, but you get in the short-term trades, it looks all right in the short term. You got RSI, MACD kind of overbought now. You got this overextension. You've got this consistent downtrend though. It's kind of selling down. So a lot of the technicals not really looking like it's very favorable for a trade. Ideally, we start to see some consolidation. RSI and MACD is a little more sold off.
Oh, please.
Fuck off.
Please.
Got a text.
Breakfast text. What the hell are you on to?
I don't like this. Nah, this is no funny.
Finley, Lorenzo, and Tommy. Jasmine, Martha, and Priya. 2 new bombshells are waiting to date you. Get ready. Head out into the garden for breakfast. What the fuck?
What? I can't do it!
Alicia.
Yeah, how are you? You too?
I'm Jasmine.
Ethan, lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Actually, you are one of my main priorities. But yeah,
That's
looking
right.
forward to exploring.
You're not 16. No, you're not. Oh yeah, okay, that's right.
Isn't sure?
I think that's good behaviour.
Oh, fuck.
Like what you say then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie is going to be furious.
Are you getting to know her on a romantic level or not?
Oh, please.
Fuck off.
Please.
Got a text.
Breakfast text. What the hell are you on to?
I don't like this. Nah, this is no funny.
Finley, Lorenzo, and Tommy. Jasmine, Martha, and Priya. 2 new bombshells are waiting to date you. Get ready. Head out into the garden for breakfast. What the fuck?
What? I can't do it!
Alicia.
Yeah,
how are you? You too?
I'm Jasmine.
Ethan, lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Actually, you are one of my main priorities. But yeah,
That's
looking
right.
forward to exploring.
You're not 16.